Patagonia feels like the edge of the world because the land is enormous, the sky is endless, and the wind does not negotiate.
Chile and Argentina share Patagonia's soul. Big distances, sharp light, and weather that can change your plan in minutes.
Torres del Paine trekking is not just distance and elevation. It is timing, shelter, and respect for the wind corridors. In Patagonia, your first lesson is simple. If your gear is loose, the wind will take it, fast.
The steppe looks calm from far away, but up close you hear the constant hush of wind combing through grass.
This is the Patagonian rhythm. Lean into gusts, relax your shoulders, and let your steps stay small and consistent. When the wind hits the lakes, Patagonia becomes a living instrument, water and air playing the same loud note. Bridges teach humility here. One strong gust can shift your balance, so you slow down and make every step intentional. The forest is Patagonia's whisper, but it is also your shelter. Every tree line feels like a wall against the wind.
At camp, you do not set up a tent in Patagonia. You anchor it like a promise.
A good campsite is not the prettiest view. It is the view that lets you sleep.
Cold mornings feel sharper here, because the wind steals warmth the moment you stop moving. Above the trees, the world opens, and so does the wind. This is where Patagonia becomes physical. Poles are not just for knees here. They are for stability when the air tries to push you offline. You learn spacing, not for crowds, but for gusts. Each person needs room to correct without colliding. The mountains look sculpted by time, but the wind is still carving. Day after day, season after season. Glaciers write Patagonia's rivers in pale ink. Cold, mineral-rich water that looks unreal and feels even colder. On these lakes, wind becomes visible. Every ripple is a signature. Every wave, a warning. Layering is strategy. Block wind, keep dry, and avoid sweating, because wind plus sweat becomes instant cold. Patagonia's light is theatrical. One opening in the clouds can turn the whole world into a stage. Some sections feel like walking beside an inland sea, where gusts roll across the surface with nothing to slow them down.
In big wind, anything that catches air becomes a problem, so you streamline yourself like you are part of the landscape.
Exposure changes the rules. You keep 3 points of contact in spirit. Feet steady, poles planted, mind calm. Condors do not fight the wind. They read it. Watching them is a Patagonia lesson written in feathers. Even dinner is tactical. You block the wind, protect the flame, and treat every hot meal like a small victory. At night, you hear Patagonia even when you cannot see it. The wind becomes a language around your shelter. Torres del Paine mornings are earned. Cold hands, steady breath, and the promise of granite lit by first sun. Every switchback is a negotiation between your legs and the slope, and between your balance and the gusts. You step softly on scree. Patagonia punishes stomping, because the ground is as restless as the air. Then it happens. The towers appear like a myth made solid, and the wind tries to push you away from your own awe. At the base, the strongest gusts feel like invisible hands. You learn to lower your center of gravity and let rocks be your friend. Granite remembers weather. Every stain, crack, and ledge is a timeline of wind, freeze, and melt. Descending is where fatigue meets wind. You do not rush. You let gravity be slow and safe.
Patagonia can show you 4 seasons in 1 hour, and the wind delivers each one like a message.
Shelters exist for a reason. Here, comfort is not luxury. It is a safety system. You do not dress for rain alone. You dress for wind-driven rain, because it finds every weak seam. Some valleys feel like cathedrals. The French Valley feels like a cathedral with an organ made of wind. Glaciers are alive in slow motion.
cracking, shedding, and reminding you that mountains also move. You watch the wind on the water. When it calms for a breath, you move. Patagonia rewards patience.
People ask why Patagonia's wind feels stronger than anywhere else. Because this is a corridor between mountains and ice.
Across the border, the landscape shifts, but the wind remains the same signature, writing invisible lines across the plains. Argentina's Patagonia feels like space on Earth, quiet, vast, and defined by distances that reset your sense of scale.
Glaciers change the temperature of the air around them. You feel the cold radiate outward, even before you see the ice.
This is the glacier's face. Beautiful, brutal, and temporary, because every year the edge is rewritten. You listen for the crack, like thunder trapped inside ice. Then you remember glaciers are not silent monuments. The wind even moves the glacier's leftovers, pushing ice across the lake like slow-moving chess pieces.
Everyone becomes quiet here, not because a sign says so, but because the glacier makes you feel small, in the best way.
On glacier lakes, wind does not ripple water. It sculpts it, lifting mist and carrying cold into your lungs.
Even driving here teaches physics. Crosswinds push vehicles, clouds race, and the horizon feels unbelievably far. Patagonia can punish you, then gift you a rainbow like an apology it never needed to make.
You learn to open a tent like a sailor opens a hatch, slowly, ready for the gust that wants to invade.
This is the wind story. The strongest winds do not just blow. They test every decision you made earlier.
Inside the forest, you find quiet. Patagonia teaches that shelter is not weakness, it is wisdom.
Then you step back into exposure, and the wind returns like a chorus, louder, closer, and completely indifferent.
You stop only when you must, and when you stop, you crouch, because standing tall is an invitation for the gust to shove.
The wind makes you focus. It removes distractions until there is only breath, footing, and forward motion.
From up here, you see why people call it the end of the world. There is nothing small, nothing gentle, nothing pretending. Hydration becomes harder in wind. Even drinking feels like work, because the air tries to steal the bottle and the warmth from your hands.
Distances on signs feel different here, because wind adds invisible miles to every kilometer.
This is Patagonia's signature contrast. Sunshine on one ridge, storm on the next, and wind connecting them like a wire.
Glaciers feed these rivers, and wind shapes their paths, moving sand, shifting channels, redrawing the valley floor.
Even flowers adapt here, growing low, hiding behind stones, surviving where softness seems impossible.
The bridge does not scare you by height, it scares you by movement, because wind makes even strong structures feel alive.
You cross one step at a time, eyes forward, breathing steady, because fear feeds the wind's illusion of control.
Sometimes the wind stops, and the silence feels louder than the gusts, like the world is holding its breath.
Patagonia gives you moments of mirror glass beauty, then reminds you, calm here is temporary, and that is part of the magic.
At sunset, wind shapes the sky into moving art, and the mountains become dark anchors holding the horizon in place.
You break camp efficiently because wind has no patience. In Patagonia, sloppy routines become real problems. The strongest winds you face are not one dramatic moment. They are hours of constant pressure that test your patience more than your strength. You stop fighting it. You accept that wind is part of the trail, like rocks and hills, and acceptance becomes energy. Water does not fall straight here. Even gravity's path is bent by Patagonia's wind.
The animals show you the technique: stable stance, low profile, and calm attention to the environment.
Patagonia's scale is emotional. You feel tiny, but also free, because nothing crowns your mind out here. Every sticker says someone stood here, felt this wind, and decided it was worth it. Your body gets tired, but your senses get sharper. Patagonia rewires you to notice light, air. Comfort feels earned here. A warm room is not just cozy, it is proof you learned to manage the day. The towers do not feel like a checkbox. They feel like a relationship, brief, intense, and unforgettable. Leaving Patagonia is strange. The world feels smaller, quieter, and slightly less honest without that constant wind. Glaciers show time. Towers show endurance. Wind shows power. Patagonia shows all three at once.
Patagonia is the edge of the world, not because it is empty, but because it is intense.